All right, all right, all right, all right. Here, let me turn on speech chat. And then let's fire up GT.
At Necrodogs said, woof woof.
Woof woof. Necrodogs, how you doing?
At
And
Necrodogs said, hope everyone's doing well.
I'm a little bit tired, but all in all, I'm doing good. Thank you. That being said, I'm not sure. The target is for an hour, give or take. And let me wait for this to boot up because I don't want to get caught with a copyright because of the music. It's happened before. We'll get that going here in a second.
At Necrodogs said, all good man. Tired but happy, thumbs up.
Oh yeah. So 1.8 looks like we got 3 cars coming. No race cars though. I knew this was going to happen. I mean, because they gave us 2 race cars. Speaking of which, so I want to talk about a couple of things related to the Gran Turismo franchise, and I'll start by saying that I don't think GT8 is going to come until late 28, early 2029. So we'll come back to that in a second. So that brings me back to GT7. So we see this update 1.1.68, and I mean, it's all cool. Eh, naturally, they had to throw the SUV in there because, for a minute, GT7 went fucking crazy adding these GT7s in here. And I think it got to the point where like the hardcore people was getting ready to leave because this thing was starting to look like the SUV simulator. And I think they added the 2 GT3s to kind of shut the hardcore people up. And they did add 2 good cars to their credit. But I think those are 2 cars that should have been there when this game launched. Um, I think the only new cars that was on this game when it launched that I was happy to see was the Ford GT. And on this game, I think they have it classified as a Group 3 car, but in the real world, that car was a GTE and not a GT3. And the Toyota G1, G10, what is it? The Toyota GR010 hypercar, and that's the only modern hypercar that's on the game. And they haven't added any more hypercars, which I think is like, are you serious? I've talked about it before that in today's sim racing, the GT3s and the hypercars are the most popular class. No way around it. Um, any racing game moving forward, any road racing sim, if you want a big, if you even want to have a chance to attract racers, you got to add GT3s at least. Hypercars, yeah, I think it couldn't hurt to add hypercars, but you got to have GT3s, like it or not. So, since I think that GT8 won't come until late 2028, early 2029, I do think that Polyphony Digital could possibly add one more. Um, I do think that they could possibly add one more GT3. What I would like to see them add and what I think they should add is 2 different things. I would love to see them add the Corvette Z06. But in order to get as many people on board as possible, I think they should add the BMW M4. You look across any other racing game that has a GT3 class. If it has if it has a BMW M4 in that game, you will see that that car is um, wildly popular. Every game, I think it all started with ACC because I think ACC was the first racing game that I saw that added the BMW M4. When that car was added, it was undoubtedly the most popular car on that game for months and months and months and months and months. Um, and even though the game doesn't have the user base that it once did, you go into that game and you still see that it is a widely used car on both PC and console. And I think, hell, the car, if I'm not mistaken, the cars on Forza Motorsports. Um, Let me see, Le Mans Ultimate. It is a widely used car on Le Mans Ultimate, and a case could be made that on Le Mans Ultimate it is the best all around GT3. Not necessarily the fastest, not necessarily the best handling, but it does everything good. Very popular car on Le Mans Ultimate. I dare say with the GT3s, it might be the most popular. Unless it's either that car or whatever car is the meta car. So you'll usually have a split. Whatever car's the meta car at the moment, it seems like half the people use that, and then a big chunk of the other remaining people use the BMW M4. Um, I've seen the car used quite a bit on Automobilista 2. Um, Seen the car used by a lot of people on Race Room. So I'm trying to think of all the racing games in iRacing, definitely iRacing. So yeah, all those games, iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, Automobilista 2, Project Motor Racing, hell, uh, Forza, ACC, shit, Rennsport. So I think I just read off 10 games that natively have the BMW M4, and it is a popular car on every one of those sims that I mentioned. So I dare say if they were to put the BMW M4 on GT7, there's a pretty good chance that it would probably be the most popular car on there. Um, right now the Porsche 992 is a really good car on GT7, but I think it doesn't seem to be the most popular car used, but I think a lot of people that use it right now are using it because it is the newest shiny toy. Whereas if they were to put the M4 on there, almost everybody in the beginning would use it because it's the new shiny toy. But after the shininess wears off, I think it's still going to be the most widely used car on GT7. So short story long, yeah, I think the next GT7, the next GT3 should be the BMW M4. Um, because even if the cars are old, now they still kind of have all of the other GT3s. The AMG hasn't really changed in the last 10 years or so. Um, or they could add the Mustang GT. It's a little bit different from the one that they have. It's a little bit newer. They could add that, but I think the BMW would still be more popular. But yeah, I think even though the other cars are older, they still have just about every at least one GT3 from every major manufacturer. I mean, like I don't think it would make any sense to add the Huracan because that's another car that hasn't really changed much over the last 10 years. So yeah, I think the M4 would be the smartest move. Now, let's move on to a GT8. In the past, I have speculated that GT7 could possibly come to PC because rumors were floating around at the time that it could come to PC. And I think there were some rumors that they were testing it on PC. And given the situation that Sony is in right now, do I think they're hurting financially? No. But I do think they are desperate to get the money back that they've lost from Concord. Because, I mean, rumors, speculation, what have you, says that they lost almost $400 on Concord when, the when you combine the money of marketing and purchasing them and the money that they invested after the purchase, and then the Bungie acquisition, which I believe they purchased Bungie for $3.6 million. So I think they purchased Bungie for $2 billion, and then the other 1.6 billion was to lock all the employees down for the next few years. So when you combine that, that's almost $4 billion. Now I think Sony is desperate to get that money back. So much to the point that I think they have done things that are anti-consumer. And I've noticed how some some people disappear whenever Sony does something anti-consumer. I mean, the only time they scream and yell at Sony is whenever Sony sends something to PC. And I think not so much because they don't want it on PC. I think they just don't want the Xbox people pointing at them and be like, "Ha ha, we don't have to get a PlayStation to play your games." So silly console war shit. But um, I do think again, I think Sony is desperate to get that money back, and I think they've done some anti-consumer things in order to get that money back. So yeah, I think it seemed feasible at the time that yeah, GT7 could go to PC, but I felt that we are too far into the generation, and I kind of think Sony's not that good at networking, especially um, they're probably better at it now, but I think, or let me put it a different way, a GT7, I don't think it was built with PC in mind. So I don't think their servers have the infrastructure to expand to PC and make it crossplay. Especially when you factor in, they had to make that quick pivot to add PS4, which caused some bugs in the beginning. Um, but now moving on to GT8. Before I did some quick research, as far as GT8 going to PC, if you were to ask me, do I think GT8 is going to PC? At first, I would have given you an emphatic yes because of rumors. But after doing some quick research, my opinion went from an emphatic yes to 50-50. So I guess I'll talk about why I think it could still happen. Um, One is the extra revenue that it could bring in. I think I think GT8 could easily sell another million or two, maybe even 3 million on PC. Well, I'll stick to the 1 or 2 million.
At Big Rock 18 said, "Good evening, sorry to interrupt, I just wanna say thank you for streaming, this is way better than the dumbass Oscars, I appreciate you."
Ain't
There
no
you go.
stopping this train. Whoa!
How you doing, my guy? Um, I didn't I didn't originally plan to stream, but sometimes like I was just laying in bed just watching streams, and then it crossed my mind about the PC thing, GT8, and I was like, I want to talk about this. So I got up and quick got everything together, and here I am. So GT8 to PC, yeah, the extra revenue. I think they could definitely get an extra million units sold, which presumably when GT8 comes out, it will probably be $80. So if they were to send it to PC and they were to get an extra million units sold on PC, that would be an extra 80 million. So that's one reason why I think it could go to PC. Um, Two, I think Sony, even if they try to act like the money that they've made off of PC is crumbs, I think they've still made some decent money off of PC. Um, since um, since 2020, I believe, or 2021, or whatever it is. Yeah, I think 2021, Sony has made $1.6 billion off of Steam alone. And in these last 5 years, the games have also gone to Epic. And hell, I was at GOG today and I found a Sony classic on there, Heavy Rain, that was on the PS3 for $2. I bought it because I played that on the PS3, and that was one of my favorite games at the time. And I thought that was a game that raised the bar on the graphics at the time. Because for the longest, I thought Gears of War had the best graphics until I saw Killzone and saw Heavy Rain on the PS3. So anyway, coming back to GTA on PC. So yeah, I think they've gotten used to that PC money because I think hell, the money that they've got off PC, that alone could probably get their money back off development costs, making everything that they get on the PS5 all profit. Now, here's probably the main reason why I think GT8 could come to PC, and that is the rumors and speculation of Sony working on their own PC launcher. Now, I think even Moore's Law is Dead said that they're working on a PC launcher, and that would probably be the biggest reason why I think GTA could go to PC. Because if you're gonna basically, if you're working on your own PC launcher, that pretty much means that you're working on your own store on PC. Um, and from Sony's standpoint, especially with them trying to get all the money that they've lost, it probably sounds a lot better to open up your own store, and all third party games that are on that store, you're getting 30% versus if you send your games over to Steam, you're losing 30%. And I think that's another reason why there might be a little bit truth to why Sony might be pulling their games from Steam. Not because I don't buy into this shit that the little money that they've gotten hasn't been worth it. When you look, especially at the single player games that they put on PC, it's kind of hard to demand $60 or $70 when you put a 2-year-old game on PC that a lot of people have probably already played it on the PlayStation. They didn't help themselves with that Helldivers fiasco with the PSN login. So, and and then the hype is going from the game. So, um, but you work on a PC launcher and presumably have your own store. All those third-party games that come there, Sony gets 30% of that, and then all their exclusives that they put on there, they get 100% of that. And if you are going to put a PC, if you're going to work on your own PC launcher, I can't see them putting a PC launcher on PC without a storefront. If you're going to open up a storefront, it makes no sense to even open a store if you don't entice people to come in there with your exclusives. So that being said, that's one of the reasons why I think GT8 could go to PC. And I still think that their single players could go to PC because you still get the PC money. You put it on PlayStation, you send it to PC. Ooh, that's another thing. You open up a storefront with your own launcher on PC. Are you going to do it like you have been doing it? Especially with the single player games. Are you going to launch them day and date on PC, or are you going to make the PC people wait 6 months or a year? Knowing that there's going to be a trade-off if they do that. You so you put your single. Let's use Wolverine as an example, the upcoming Wolverine game. Let's say Sony already has a PC storefront and the PC launcher, and Wolverine. If they put the Wolverine on PC day and date, you're gonna get a lot of PC sales, and you would be in a position to ask for the entire $70. But I think the trade-off there is that you're probably not going to have as many sales on console. But if you have your own store, it doesn't matter because it's still in your ecosystem. Because they could still choose to go off and buy other games from your storefront. Whereas things as it stands right now, if Wolverine was on PC, they buy Wolverine, and that could possibly be it. Anything else that they buy off of Steam, if it's not a Sony exclusive, they won't get anything from it. Whereas if they put Steam on their PC storefront, they get 100% of the money from Wolverine. And if it's somebody who's already in your ecosystem on console, they have a PC, they may continue to buy games from your storefront. So the same 30% that you would have got from console sales, you would still get that from PC sales. In fact, you might get it twice because if you don't do the cross buy thing, and knowing Sony, they'll make you buy the game twice. So even if the game were to come out day and date on PC, Wolverine, you still might have to buy it twice, knowing how Sony moves. If you buy it on console, that's it. And then if you want it on PC, you're gonna have to buy it again. They're not gonna do the cross buy. They're not gonna do the cross buy thing like Microsoft does with the Play Anywhere. If it's a Play Anywhere title, you only have to buy it once. The only catch to the Play Anywhere shit with Microsoft is that if I buy a multiplayer game on PC, if I want to play it on Xbox, the multiplayer part of it, then I would need Game Pass Core, the online paywall. So, but yeah, if they were to do something like that with Wolverine, sure, they could lose console sales, but they could hit you twice. You buy it once on console, buy it once on PC. So they get the PC money, and with them having their own storefront, you might be a person that has more games in your library on the PlayStation ecosystem versus Steam. So you might want to continue to buy your games in the PlayStation ecosystem, meaning that they would buy the PC versions of the games from the Sony PC store. Not only that, they would be able to, I would imagine that maybe your trophies would carry over and you wouldn't have to do your trophies all over again. possible cross saves. So, but on the other hand, if they were to stagger the releases like they have been doing with Steam and put it on console first, there would be there would be more sales on console. But then you bring Wolverine to PC 6 months or a year later, there's not going to be as much hype for the game. It's not going to be as many sales for the game, especially if you still plan to charge the full $70. So you release so if they want to do the console thing, the staggered thing, I think they would have to release the game on console first, and then they could get the $70, and then 6 months later release it on PC at say $60, $50. Then you might be a little bit easier to get people to double dip. So yeah, I think those are good reasons why GT7 could go to PC. Now, and if you're going to put your console, if you're going to put your exclusives on that storefront to draw people in, GT8 is definitely one of the games that has to go to PC. And another advantage to Sony opening their own PC store is they control the parameters. They would be in a position to tell you, well, there would be no way around it. You'd have to sign in. You would have to do the PlayStation login. Just like with Steam. Any game you play on Steam, you got to be signed into your account. Whereas if they open up a PlayStation storefront, if you use their launcher, you got to be signed into your account. And that would be a way where they could get the player engagement numbers and it not be intrusive. You play a game on, from the Microsoft store, you definitely have to be signed into your Xbox or Microsoft account, Steam, GOG. You have to be signed into all those respective accounts to play games on those platforms. So yeah, if they had their own PC store, they could get those in play. They could get those engagement numbers and not get the backlash like they got from Helldivers. So yeah, they could definitely go to shareholders and say, look, this game, we had this many people playing this many games, yada yada yada. But yeah, I think GT8 would have to be a game that they would have to add. Because when it comes to multiplayer games that define the PlayStation brand, GT7 is it. What other multiplayer games do they have? When you think of Sony, when somebody comes to you and says, "Name a PlayStation multiplayer game," what's the first game that's going to come to mind? You're probably going to have to sit there and think about it for a second, but it's only going to be GT7. Sure, they got all this live service shit coming out, but the the Concord thing with that studio, that wasn't a studio that was cultivated by Sony. That was it's almost like they bought the whole package. Um and then all their other studios that are working on live service games are studios that normally do single player games. So you take that caveat out of the equation, and GT7 is really the only multiplayer game that comes to mind. This multiplayer exclusive from a studio that I think was cultivated by Sony. So yeah, that when you throw that into the mix, GT8 would definitely have to be a game that would attract people to their PC store, um, if they were to have a PC launcher and a PC store. So the other question is would GT8 be a
At
day?
Shumi_VR said, 30th anniversary could tie in with GT8 on PS6.
Something like that would be a good reason to make GT8 launch on PS6 first and then come to PC 6 months later. So yeah, that would be more of a motivating factor to make the game come to PlayStation first. Um, I think another thing that they could capitalize, they could cash in on is now that I do think that GT8 will have PSVR 2 support. I don't think there will be another PSVR headset. I don't think there will be a PSVR 3. I think that they will make this current PSVR 2 headset forward compatible, sort of like what they did with the original PSVR. They made it forward compatible, although you needed a special adapter to make it work on the PS5. But I think they would be able to do it with PSVR 2, and I don't think it would require any special adapter since it only has a USB-C plug. Um, I think it would definitely be forward compatible for GT8. Not to mention that currently on GT7, I think one of the reasons why some of the economy is so egregious on GT7 is because I think they were aiming at the VR people. I've talked about it before, where on GT7, for those who like to race in VR, for some of these people, this is a dream come true. Because for some of these people, they will never, ever, ever sit in a Bugatti. They will never, ever, ever sit
At
in a Ferrari.
Shumi_VR said, just in time for AC EVO 1.0.
I really haven't been following that game closely enough for me to even speculate on AC Evo's future. I just know that the couple of times that I played it, it just really didn't do anything for me. Every time I played it for about 15 minutes and I was done. Um, so yeah, I think with GT8, I think the PSVR 2 headset would be forward compatible for GT8, and the PSVR 2 headset also has the PC adapter, so GT8 could also get microtransaction money from both PS5 users and PC users that are using the VR headset. And yeah, I do believe, going back to what I was originally making a point about is that, yeah, I think there's some people using this headset because Gran Turismo has made their dreams come true about cars that the fantasy cars that they could only dream about. They actually get a chance to sit in that car and drive it through the magic of VR. And some of them are willing to spend a lot of money on microtransactions. They might be willing to fork out $20 in real money, $40 in real money to have enough money to buy that Bugatti or that Ferrari or that Porsche, 911 RSR street version of the car. Um, and they would look to cash in on that same formula with GT8. So I definitely believe that GT8 will be forward compatible, and if it's on PC and PS6, it's going to be a double whammy. Um, Especially if there's no cross buy. Ooh, if there's no cross buy, that's a double lick. I want the Bugatti on both PC and PS6. So the microtransactions, I might end up having to fork out anywhere between $20 and $40 of real money to get that Bugatti on both formats. I could see something like that happening. So I think I've spent a lot of time and presented like 49 different scenarios why GT8 could go to PC. I think the biggest reason why it might not go to PC is because of how many units of GT7 has been sold. Analysts speculate that since 2022 when it launched, that GT7 has sold over 14 million units. Now, not every single one of them was sold at $70 because it's been on sale a few times, but I would probably have to make a guess that at least 50% of people who bought GT7 bought spent money on microtransactions at least once. So there's extra revenue there. So that being said, they've made enough money off of GT7 that they don't need to send it to PC. In fact, it's probably shit. I think now when I stop and think about it, I think GT7 is the only Sony exclusive that has been out for more than 1 year and is not on PC. Everything else, what? The Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, the Spider-Man games, all of them are on PC. And I think GT7 again, I think it's the only exclusive that's been out for more than a year that is not on PC. And and it's probably the only exclusive that incentivizes buying the console. It is the last sliver of motivation for anybody to buy the PlayStation console because um if GT7 were on PC, in my opinion, that would be the nail in the coffin. There would be zero reason to buy a PlayStation if you're okay with waiting a few months for the single player exclusive. GT7 is probably about 90% of the reason that I bought a PS5 because I did like GT Sport and GT Sport did have VR support, but it wasn't racing. It was just time trials. So it was a given or an assumption, a belief, a perception that GT7 would have full blown racing in VR, and we got it. And even though Sony had not made that announcement, Polyphony Digital had been interviewed before, and they have been quoted as saying that they do like VR and are exploring all possibilities, yada yada yada. What I took from that is yes, GT7 will have PSVR 2 support. So I took the leap of faith and bought the PS5, even though we wouldn't get PSVR 2 like 3 years later, or was it two? I had to think. I know it launched in February. I just don't remember if it launched in 2023 or 2022. So, yeah, I think, but I think that's all I got. Wow, I spent 45 minutes talking about this shit. I am so sorry. I did not mean to sit this long and blah 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 blah. So, for those of you that came here for the racing, I'm sorry I kept you guys waiting for so long. Um, I'm gonna do a couple of races and then I'm probably going to hang it up because I want to do some races on some other sims. Believe it or not, I actually want to do a couple of races on Forza. Now, Forza. First of all, thank you to those of you who tuned into my Forza stream yesterday. And although I think that GT7 still has the dirtiest drivers, I do think that the Forza people are probably the least skilled And I think they probably have the highest percentage of people playing the game on controller. They absolutely have no sense of spatial awareness. I think with the Forza drivers, their intent is to just drive right behind you and think that when they see your brake lights come on, they can react quick enough and slow the car down and not hit you. But when you're on a controller, you it's a little bit harder to control how much um how much input you have with the brakes, and the natural reaction is to squeeze that trigger all the way in and lock up the wheels, and you're going to slide right into a car that's right in front of you. So um I still think the GT7 drivers are the dirtiest, but I think the Forza drivers are the most reckless and the most inexperienced. Damn, we got 13 minutes. Um, so I guess that gives me a few minutes to go grab a drink. And I'm not going to put on the be right back intermission. I'm actually going to let you guys see the chair that I'm sitting in my bedroom, because there's no way I could fit a rig in here, which if I tried to put a rig in here, it'd be overkill. I mean, it's probably already a little bit obsessive that I even have a wheel in my racing in my bedroom. But I'll be right back. Okay, let's get a few practice laps in. And I'm sorry, folks, but I'm definitely gonna have to turn on the fan. I'm already sweating. So, all right, let's get into some. Let's get a few laps in. Okay, let's get a few laps in. Let me get a little bit closer. 151.4. And I do believe it might have been possible during one of the races. I think I might have got a 150 in. That's not good. Missing gears trying to turn down the traction control. We got a next couple of weeks. We got a lot of things going on with sim racing. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Oh, damn, did I ever mess that one up? I just blew a good lap. Oh yeah, folks, and for my driver rating, I am in danger of getting knocked back down to D. It's probably gonna happen. So I'm just not fast enough to escape the madness of these dirty and reckless drivers on this game. So, and I don't play the game enough. So I'm probably forever going to be stuck in the C class. I mean, because of how dirty and reckless these drivers are, I'm not even sure I can make it back to the B class. I know there's no way I'll make it back to the A class. Just blew another good lap, hitting that wall. Oh, crap. Oh, that killed it right there, that missed shift. Oh, damn, I can't believe it. I actually beat it by a 10th. Oh my God, they got me 12th. The only good news out of this is that I'm only 2 seconds off of the leader. But yeah, after this race, I'll show you guys my driver rating. I'm still a C-class driver, but I am dangerously near falling down to a D-class, and I don't think I've been a D-class driver since GT Sport. And it has nothing to do with my lap times either. It's just the dirty driving and the reckless driving. Is just, I mean, well, look, you guys are going to see for yourself. Which is why I don't play this game that much, and which is why I let my PlayStation Plus membership run out, because I had no intentions of renewing it, being that I originally had no intentions of streaming this game again. Well, holy shit. I got to keep my head down so the VR is centered, because Sony put in a crappy VR centering button. That is why I will never, ever, ever be able to make it back to the B or the C class. And that is exactly why when my PlayStation Plus membership had run out, I had no intention of renewing it and not streaming this game again. Now I'm dead last. And my wheel feels funny on top of that. But it shouldn't, because any damage you take on with this game disappears after about 5 seconds. Somehow I had the fastest lap through all that shit. Can you believe it? That was close. The fastest lap again. They should give you a little bit of rank. They should add a little bit of rank in there for the fastest lap. Which that ticket's going to end up being dog shit. That's another, like, these roulette tickets are a scam on this game. And see, look at that. I've lost rank. I came in second to last place. In fact, as far as cars that finished the race, I came dead last. Now, let's back out of here. And there it is. Right there. That DR with the C. There's only a little sliver left. One more bad race, and I'm probably going to fall down to D. We'll stay with it. So I'm sorry, folks. What you just saw there is why GT7, why I had not had a lot of fun with this game over the past couple of years. Race like that, the only positive that I take from a race like that is that it was in VR. I can unequivocally say that if it wasn't for the VR, I probably would have quit this game and I would have stuck to it. But I love VR. I love racing in VR. It's a passion of mine. So I still do find myself coming back to this game, even though I think the driving standards are the worst across any other racing game. So I guess it's the GT7 again has the worst driver standings in terms of people being dirty, reckless, over aggressive. Where I think over on the Forza side, I think a lot of them are using controllers and just don't know how to drive with them. But I think over on the Forza side, I do think they're slower over there. So I think over on the Forza side, if I can survive the turn one chaos, then I'm fast enough to get away from like the lower half of the grid. I think I'm, at least for my class, I think on Forza I'm fast enough to finish in the upper half of the races that I enter, provided I don't get taken out at turn one. GT7, there's a lot more people on there, therefore there's a lot more faster people on GT7, and since everyone tries to win the race at turn one, yeah, in terms of turn one chaos, I think both of them are equal. I think both of them have equal amounts of turn one chaos. I think what separates them is that the GT7 drivers lean on the dirty side, and the Forza drivers lean on the inexperienced side. So, um, so I think I got one more race left in me. I've been on over an hour now, and yeah, I talked you guys' ears off about the GT7 8 to PC thing. So yeah, it's working its way towards 10 o'clock Eastern time, and I want to have enough time to get some races in on some other games before I go to bed. I did mention Forza, but I don't think I'm going to do Forza because I don't want to go from this game dealing with the turn one chaos only to jump over to another game and have to deal with the same shit. So I think that you know, I'm not going to stream it, but I think when I get off here, I think I might jump into some race room. Out of all the racing games that I play on a regular basis, I think Race Room probably has the best driving etiquette. Even though they don't have a penalty system like LMU, nonetheless, more people on Race Room, they don't really dive bomb and take stupid chances. They might see a gap and try to go for it, but as soon as they see that gap close, they'll hit the brakes and back out of it. Unlike these other games, they see a gap, they try to go for it, it suddenly closes. Rather than hit the brakes to try to avoid it altogether, they'll just lift and hope the car will slow down enough on its own to avoid the collision. But by then it's already too late because they've already committed to the corner and they're already carrying too much speed into the corner. So the wreck is inevitable, because they simply don't want to. They don't want to brake because they don't want to lose too. They're scared of losing time on Race Room. I think they the way they drive, I think clean driving is more important to them than a risky dive bomb. All right, let's get ready. .3. Somebody's using the C7 in here. Huh, that's got me curious. If I decide to do one more race, I might go ahead and buy the C7 just for shits and giggles. My name here, Gerber. Oh shit, the leading car's in the C7. I guess that's all the more reason for me to go and buy one. Might go get the C7 and that Ferrari. Seen that coming from a mile away. And this guy in front of me's got a 2-second penalty, so I don't need to fight him. Oh my God! That Corvette, look at him! Look at him pushing people off the road. Oh, he's trying to squeeze people. Seen that dive bomb coming. Oh shit.
At Big Rock 18 said, a bunch of nuts acts in this race. I see why you don't play this game much.
Pretty much. Here, we're gonna have a dive bomb right here. Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna lose rank for this too. I'm actually curious to see how many bad races it would take for me to get knocked back down to the D class. Yep, lost rank. Damn, it didn't happen yet. I was hoping I would get knocked down to D class. How much time? I'll give it one more go. This will be the last one. Now, uh, um, I think for the most part, over the past 6 months, I think I've done a fair job of trying not to be negative. And one of the things that helped me not be negative was not to play GT7. Um, but if it's any games, when it comes to racing, if it's any games that can bring the negativity out of me, it's GT7 and Forza. All the other racing games, I'm trying to win or I'm trying to finish as best I can. With Forza and GT7, I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to avoid getting knocked off the track and trying to, I mean, just not coming in last is a victory for me on GT7 and Forza. The ignorant shit that goes on with Le Mans Ultimate, what makes that so frustrating is that when I'm in top split, I'm going against who at least at that time is the best in the world. And for them to be with Le Mans Ultimate, oh shit. What the hell? Le Mans Ultimate says I got disconnected. What the hell? Oh, okay, I had got a notification that OBS disconnected. Then it reconnected. So I don't know how much you guys missed of what I might have said over the last 30 seconds or 1 minute, but I'll repeat it. That over the past 6 months, I think I've done a decent job of not being negative, and part of it was because I was not playing GT7. And to repeat what I said, if it's two games that can bring the negativity out of me, that's GT7 and Forza. Um, and when it comes to the other racing games, I try to win or I try to finish up as best I can. Whereas with Forza and GT7, I'm just trying to survive. I mean, it's kind of a given that you're going to get knocked off the track. So not coming in last is a victory on those games. That's how terrible that is. But what makes Le Mans Ultimate frustrating is, as I said before, that whenever I'm in a race, when I'm in top split, it means at least for that moment, these are the fastest guys on the track. And when you have them being over aggressive and causing huge wrecks, that's really frustrating too, because these are guys that's supposed to be seasoned veterans when it comes to sim racing, and they're supposed to have better sense than to take stupid chances on turn one. And with Le Mans Ultimate, over aggression is more of a problem than dirty driving. It doesn't have near as much dirty driving as GT7. You have people being over aggressive. They kind of have their mind made up. They're going to take a chance to try to get past someone, and if they knock them off, oh well, you know. Um, Whereas I think with Forza, I think it comes down to inexperienced people racing with controllers. But yeah, Big Rock, I purchased 1 month worth of PlayStation Plus. So it's probably going to expire in another couple of weeks. And when it does, I have no no intentions for the foreseeable future to renew it. That is, unless we get another GT3 from Polyphony Digital. Now, as I was speaking about that earlier, which I think we might get one more GT3 before it's over, because I still don't think we'll see GT8 for another 2 or 3 years. So that gives Polyphony Digital plenty of time to add 1 or 2 more GT3s, assuming they don't want to SUV us to death. So yeah, after my PlayStation Plus membership runs out, I have no plans in the foreseeable future to renew it, unless we get another GT3. Now, when that happens, then yeah, curiosity is going to get the best of me, and I would renew it for like a month, just to race with that car for a month or something like that, and then after that, I disappear back into obscurity with GT7. I mean, biggest reason why I'm on a 1 month membership right now is because my son wanted to play the Gears of War Reloaded multiplayer, because he wanted to compare the response time of the the PS5 against his Series X and against PC. Excuse me. And the latency of the TV that I'm sitting at right now isn't too far off of a monitor. Um, Even though my monitors say, 1 point, you know, um, one millisecond of latency, depending on what game my son is playing, he might see about 2 seconds of latency, 2 milliseconds. And with this TV right here, it's like 2.5. So actually, my son actually prefers to play Gears of War Reloaded in here, because the TV has latency that's pretty close to a monitor. And, my son can stretch out and chill out on the bed, and just play lazy, just stretch out with kick his feet up in the air versus sitting at a monitor, sitting upright. Ooh, excuse me. So I'm 12th. And my lap time is 1.9 second off the leader. And yeah, there's going to be a dive bomb in here. I'm more than likely going to get taken out. All right, let's go. Survival. Look at that. Who didn't? Oh my God. I got lucky it wasn't me. That's about it. This guy's swerving all over the place. These 3 cars behind me, somebody's gonna take somebody out. I can't believe the guy behind me, he backed off. Oh shit! That's on me. I think that Ferrari might have been so busy watching me in his rear view mirror that he, that he wrecked too.
At Big Rock 18 said, this game is okay for a simcade, it's no pole position though, grinning squinting face.
I can agree with that. Where I put this game is, to me, it's the game that's okay if you have a PS5 and don't have a PC and you want to race in VR. Because if you want to race, period, you still got options on console. You still got, it's still, you know. Oh, that Ferrari looks like he's trying to make a move. Oh, they got a nice little fight going on. Oh shit! How the hell did I survive that? And that one.
At Big Rock 18 said, not too bad, good one to bow out on, have a good night my friend.
All right, thanks for dropping in. Hope to see you again on the next one. And before you go, let me give you the old...
Ain't no stopping this train! Whoa!
Well, surprisingly, that was a good race. For all intents and purposes, that was a good race, and I did make a mistake. And now the Ferrari in front of me, I didn't hit him. I think he was so busy watching me in the rearview mirror that when he saw me go
At
off
Big
the
Rock
track, it
18
threw him off.
said, thanks bro.
Absolutely. And if anybody tries to ruin your day, bury those cockroaches. So where I was trying to go with this was, for the most part, that was a good race. And then now that Mazda, I did accidentally hit him. Luckily, he was able to save it. So I made a mistake. All the shit that I cry about in this game, I actually made a mistake and nearly ruined somebody else's race. But that was a good race, but it was a nervous one because at every single corner, I'm checking the mirrors to see if somebody was going to dive bomb. And I think it's hard to be aggressive when you're worried about getting taken out on every single corner. So let's see what this did for my rank. So I think I finished 8th, so I shouldn't lose any rank. In fact, I should gain a little bit. Well, I can see I'm still a C-class driver, but at this rate, the way they hand out rank in this game, it would take me forever to get back to B class. And then getting back to A class is just out of the question. It's just, again, there's way too many dirty, reckless, and terrible drivers on this game that I'll probably never be able to escape to being the C drivers. This is especially being that I don't play this game this much. I don't intend to play this game that much. So yeah, I'm forever stuck in the C and B class. And Le Mans Ultimate, I'm on the verge of getting back to silver for like the 90th time, but that's scary too because I'm wondering who's going to destroy that, you know. And Le Mans Ultimate, okay. Yeah, I'm still connected. So it's 10:30. I know there was something else that I wanted to talk about in regards to GT7 before I hang it up, but I forgot what it was. Um, Damn, I hate that because after today, um, I really don't know. I really don't know when I'll stream GT7 again. Um, Especially being that my PlayStation Plus membership will run out in a couple of weeks. So I guess I got 2 weeks to try to come up with something else to talk about relative to GT7 so I would have a reason to stream is about what I can come up with. So but we will get back to Project Motor Racing this week and possibly Le Mans Ultimate. I will say that Forza Motorsports, Project Motor Racing, Automobilista 2, and even GT7 has taught me a valuable lesson that all those games that I mentioned may see SimCady or have floaty physics, but one thing that's undeniable is when you lift, the cars rotate. Even when the tires are cold, they won't rotate as good, but the car still rotates. On Le Mans Ultimate, when the tires and the brakes are ice cold, the car does not rotate. Trail braking is not very good in that game. The best way to get a car to rotate on Le Mans Ultimate is to modulate the brakes, is to keep turn the wheel and keep hitting the brakes and keep hitting it. And each time the car will turn a little bit more until you get it pointed to where you want to go. And then if the tires are warm, then you can get on the throttle a little bit. But if the tires are cold, no. But lap one on Le Mans Ultimate, it's like driving on ice. Doesn't matter whether you modulate the brakes, trail brake, lift, whatever, the car is still going to understeer off the track. And because of that, I think I'm done doing bronze races. I've said it before, but I think I'm reiterating that I'm done with the bronze races, the beginners races on Le Mans Ultimate, because you have too many people trying to win the race in turn one, and you got 21 cars that's moving like they're on ice. There's bound to be a wreck in turn one. Nobody's giving each other enough space to get through turn one safely. So with the endurance races, when you got 40-minute, 1-hour races, you need a silver safety rating to get into those races. And everybody in there understands not to do any stupid shit on the first lap. So you got a better chance of survival in those races because everybody's more careful, they're more spatial aware, and they're more respectful. So everybody's careful until everything starts to play itself out and the traffic starts to thin out and the tires start to warm up. Then everybody can get into their groove and start making their moves. But the sprint races, no. And then to make it even worse, on these icy cold tires on Le Mans Ultimate, it can take 4 or 5 laps before the tires warm up and you get optimal grip. And then once the tires are warmed up, you only got about a 4, 5, 6 lap window before the tires start to degrade and you start losing grip again. So because of that, I've been more selective than ever with Le Mans Ultimate. Now, don't get me wrong, even though I got a little bit frustrated with GT7 tonight, GT7, I even got slightly frustrated with Forza, but Forza, GT7, and even Project Motor Racing, those are 3 games that I understand there's going to be wrecks because, uh, you know, combination of dirty drivers, over aggressive drivers, people using controllers, kids, what have you. So um, the likelihood of a turn one wreck is very, very high. So I already walk into those games pretty much not expecting to win. Just go in there and try to have fun. So yeah, I think I run out of things to say. So I think I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do. So I'm trying to decide whether to join a race room ranked race or Le Mans Ultimate. Be one of those two, and then call it a night. And then I'm back to being at work at 6, so I'll get an extra hour of sleep tonight. Um, so when will I be back? If I come back tomorrow, it could be Project Motor Racing, Race Room, depending because we get new daily races on Monday for Race Room, or even GT7 because they get new daily races every Monday. Um, so I'll have to check those 3 games out and see which daily race is the most appealing to me, and if I should happen to stream tomorrow, that's the one that I'll do. So so I am looking to be back between tomorrow and Tuesday. So all right, folks, thanks for listening to me ramble about this GT8 to PC thing. That's more or less what this stream was about. I wanted to talk more than race. I had something on my mind, so I wanted to talk about it. We'll see you tomorrow or Tuesday. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king. And deuces. Have a good one, everybody. Um, hope your week gets off to a good start tomorrow for those of you that have to go back to work, or everybody for that matter. All right, folks, we'll see you.